You know that feeling when you're finally in a healthy relationship, but you can't stop waiting for them to leave. When you achieve something amazing at work, but all you can think is, they'll figure out I'm a fraud. When someone asks what you want for dinner, and you literally don't know because you've spent so long keeping everyone else happy. What if I told you that 64% of American adults, that's nearly 2 out of 3 people, are walking around with unhealed trauma right now, and most don't even know it? What if those character flaws you hate about yourself, the anxiety, the people-pleasing, the inability to relax, aren't flaws at all, but your nervous system still protecting you from dangers that ended years ago? Today we're diving deep into the 9 signs you have unhealed trauma, signs that are hiding in plain sight in your daily life. But more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to heal, with science-backed methods that have helped 84–100% of trauma survivors completely eliminate their PTSD symptoms. Yes, you heard that right. Complete elimination. This isn't about dwelling on the past or playing victim. This is about understanding why you feel stuck, why relationships feel impossible, why success feels empty, and most importantly, how to finally break free. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, one of the world's leading trauma experts, puts it perfectly. Trauma is not what happens to you, but what happens inside you as a result of what happens to you. Today, we're going to understand what's happening inside you, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Before we dive in, here's something I need you to understand. If you recognize yourself in these signs, you're not broken, you're not weak. You're having normal responses to abnormal situations. Your brain did exactly what it needed to do to survive. Now it's time to teach it that you're safe. Sign 1. Your relationships are a battlefield. Let's start with Sarah's story. She's been dating Mark for 6 months. He's kind, consistent, shows up when he says he will. But instead of feeling secure, Sarah picks fights. She accuses him of things he hasn't done. She pushes him away, then panics when he gives her space. Sound familiar? Or take Marcus. Every time a relationship hits the 6-month mark and someone says, "I love you," he feels like he's suffocating. He ghosts, he runs. Not because he doesn't care, but because intimacy feels like danger. Here's what's actually happening. If chaos was your normal growing up, if love came with conditions, if the people who were supposed to protect you were the ones who hurt you, your nervous system learned that relationships equal threat. Your amygdala, your brain's smoke detector, goes into overdrive the moment someone gets close. You're not afraid of commitment. You're not bad at relationships. Your body is still protecting you from a danger that no longer exists. You're literally having a biological response. Your heart rate increases. Stress hormones flood your system. Your prefrontal cortex goes offline. You can't think clearly because your brain believes you're under attack. Sign 2. You've lost yourself in others. Lisa never says no to her boss. She works weekends, skips lunch, takes on everyone else's projects. When her friends ask where she wants to eat, she says, "Wherever you want is fine." But here's the thing, it's not that she's being nice. She literally doesn't know what she wants anymore. This is called the fawn response, the 4th F that no one talks about. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Dr. Pete Walker, who coined this term, explains that if your survival once depended on keeping others happy, on being invisible, on never having needs, you learned to erase yourself. Think about it. Maybe as a child, having an opinion meant getting yelled at. Expressing a need meant being called selfish. Saying no meant punishment or withdrawal of love. So your brilliant little nervous system figured out, if I don't exist, I can't be hurt. Fast forward to today. Your colleague asks if you can stay late again. Every fiber of your being wants to say no, but what comes out is, sure, no problem. Then you go home and feel this rage you can't explain. That rage, that's your true self trying to break free. The tragic part? People pleasers often end up in relationships with people who take advantage of this pattern. It's not that you attract narcissists, it's that you've been trained to tolerate behavior others would walk away from. Sign 3. Perfectionism is slowly killing you. Michael works 80-hour weeks. He's been promoted 3 times in 5 years, but it's never enough. He redrafts emails 5 times before sending. He lies awake at night thinking about a minor mistake he made 3 weeks ago. His doctor says his blood pressure is dangerously high, but he can't slow down. Here's what Michael doesn't realize. His perfectionism isn't ambition, it's hypervigilance. It's his nervous system still trying to earn safety through achievement. Dr. Gabor Mate explains it brilliantly. Much of what we call personality is not a fixed set of traits. Only coping mechanisms a person acquired in childhood. That type A personality? That's not who you are, it's how you learn to survive. Maybe love was conditional on grades. Maybe you could avoid criticism by being perfect. Maybe achieving made you visible in a family where you felt invisible. Your brain created an equation, perfection equal to safety. The problem? There's no such thing as perfect, so you never feel safe. This is why successful people often feel the emptiest. You can't fill an emotional hole with achievements. You can't earn your way out of trauma. Every promotion, every accomplishment, it's never enough, because what you're really seeking isn't success. It's the feeling of being unconditionally acceptable as you are. Here's my question for you. Do you feel guilty when you rest? Like your worth is tied to your productivity? Let me know in the comments. This is incredibly common, and you need to know you're not alone. Sign 4. Your body is keeping the score. You've been to dozens of doctors, chronic pain, digestive issues, headaches, fatigue. The tests come back normal. They say it's just stress or all in your head, but the pain is real. The exhaustion is real. Your body isn't lying, it's remembering. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's groundbreaking book, The Body Keeps the Score, revealed what millions of trauma survivors know intuitively. Trauma lives in the body, not just the mind. When we can't process trauma emotionally or mentally, our bodies hold it for us. That chronic neck pain, it might be your body still bracing for impact. Those digestive issues, your gut has more neurons than your spinal cord. It's often called the second brain, and it remembers threat. That mysterious autoimmune condition. Research shows childhood trauma increases autoimmune disease risk by up to 80%. Here's a simple test. Right now, notice your shoulders. Are they up by your ears? Is your jaw clenched? Are you holding your breath? Your body is in a state of defense, even while watching a YouTube video. This is what hypervigilance feels like in the body. Dr. Peter Levine, who developed somatic experiencing, discovered something fascinating. Animals in the wild face life-threatening situations daily, but don't get PTSD. Why? Because they discharge the trauma. They shake, they run, they complete the stress cycle. Humans, we suppress it. We're told to calm down or get over it. So the trauma gets stuck, frozen in our nervous system, creating chronic physical symptoms. Sign 5. Emotional regulation feels impossible. 1 minute you're fine, the next you're in tears over a commercial. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you're enraged for hours. Or maybe you feel nothing at all, numb, disconnected, watching your life like it's happening to someone else. This isn't bipolar disorder. This isn't being too sensitive or cold-hearted. This is what happens when trauma damages your brain's emotional regulation system. Picture your brain like a house. The basement, brainstem, handles basic survival. The main floor, limbic system, processes emotions. The upstairs, prefrontal cortex, is your wise adult self who can think clearly and make good decisions. Trauma locks you in the basement or main floor. You literally can't get upstairs to think clearly. Dr. Dan Siegel calls this flipping your lid. When triggered, the thinking part of your brain goes offline. You're operating from your emotional brain or your reptilian brain. This is why you can't logic your way out of anxiety, why you can't just think positive when you're depressed. The thinking part of your brain isn't driving, trauma is. The worst part, you know you're overreacting. You watch yourself destroy relationships, opportunities, moments of joy, but you can't stop. Then comes the shame, which triggers more dysregulation. It's an endless cycle that leaves you exhausted and hopeless. If you're recognizing yourself in these signs, I need you to hear this. You're not crazy, you're not broken, and most importantly, you can heal. The research is extraordinary. 84 to 100% of single trauma survivors completely eliminate their PTSD symptoms with proper treatment. Even complex trauma responds to the right approach. If this video is resonating with you, if you're ready to understand yourself at a deeper level and finally break free from these patterns, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit that notification bell because every week I'm breaking down the psychology, the neuroscience, and most importantly, the solutions that can transform your life. You don't have to do this alone. We're building a community of people who get it, who are doing the work, who are healing together. Sign 6. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Jennifer can't enjoy anything. Her business is thriving, but she's convinced it'll fail tomorrow. Her kids are healthy, but she stays awake imagining disasters. She got promoted, but instead of celebrating, she's terrified they'll realize they made a mistake. This is hypervigilance, and it's exhausting. Dr. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, explains, after a traumatic experience, the human system of self-preservation seems to go on to permanent alert, as if the danger might return at any moment. Your amygdala, that smoke detector in your brain, is stuck in the on position. It's scanning for threat constantly, finding danger in safety, catastrophe in calm. This isn't pessimism. It's your nervous system trying to protect you by never being caught off guard again. Think about it. If chaos was normal, if bad things happened without warning, if the people who should have protected you didn't, your brain learned that vigilance equals survival. The problem? You're exhausted from being constantly on, and you're missing your actual life while preparing for disasters that never come. Sign 7. Success feels empty or terrifying. David just landed his dream job, but instead of excitement, he feels panic. They'll find out I don't belong here. Rebecca finished her PhD, but she can't shake the feeling she fooled everyone. I'm not actually smart, I just worked harder than everyone else. This goes deeper than imposter syndrome. This is trauma telling you that visibility is dangerous, that success makes you a target, that good things don't last, so don't get comfortable. Maybe growing up standing out meant getting hurt. Maybe success triggered a parent's jealousy or rage. Maybe every time something good happened, something terrible followed. Your nervous system learned, success is equal to danger. Dr. Gabor Mate shares this profound insight. We pass on trauma, not because we want to, but because we haven't healed our own wounds. Often we're living out our parents' limitations, their fears, their unhealed trauma. That voice saying you don't deserve success, that might not even be your voice. It might be an echo from generations back. Sign 8. You feel fundamentally different and alone. You're surrounded by people but feel desperately lonely. You have friends, maybe even a partner, but there's this glass wall between you and everyone else. You're convinced that if people really knew you, the real you, they'd leave. This isn't social anxiety. This is the deepest wound trauma leaves, disconnection from yourself and others. When trauma happens, especially in childhood, it doesn't just hurt you, it changes your fundamental sense of who you are and where you belong in the world. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk describes it perfectly. Traumatized people chronically feel unsafe inside their bodies. They learn to hide from themselves. When you're hiding from yourself, how can anyone else truly know you? Here's what happened. To survive trauma, you had to disconnect from your body, your emotions, your authentic self. You created masks, personas, ways of being that kept you safe. But now those masks have become prison walls. You're performing connection rather than experiencing it. The tragedy. Everyone else is doing the same thing. We're all walking around feeling fundamentally alone, convinced we're the only ones struggling, the only ones who don't have it figured out. Meanwhile, statistics show nearly 70% of Americans have experienced significant trauma. You're not alone. We're all in this together, just too scared to admit it. Sign 9. Your inner critic is brutal. Listen to how you talk to yourself. You're so stupid. You're worthless. No one could love you. You deserve what happened to you. Would you ever say these things to a child, to a friend? Then why do you say them to yourself? That voice isn't yours. It's the internalized voice of whoever hurt you, whoever failed to protect you, whoever made you believe you were the problem. Trauma doesn't just change how you see the world. It changes how you see yourself. Dr. Janina Fisher, a leading trauma therapist, reframes this brilliantly. Each symptom was an ingenious solution by the body to create some semblance of safety. The trauma-related issues with which the client presents for help, I now believe, are in truth a red badge of courage. That harsh inner critic. It might have kept you safe once. Maybe if you criticized yourself first, others wouldn't. Maybe if you stayed small, you wouldn't be a target. Maybe if you believed you deserved it, the pain made more sense. But here's what's extraordinary. That critic is proof of your survival. It shows how creative, adaptive, and resilient you were. You found a way to survive an impossible situation. Now it's time to update the system, to tell that protective part of you. Thank you for keeping me safe. I've got it from here. Now here's where everything changes. Because knowing you have trauma is just the first step. The real question is, what do you do about it? First, let me blow your mind with some statistics. EMDR therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, has shown that 84–90% of single trauma victims no longer have PTSD after just 3 sessions. In another study, 77% of combat veterans were free of PTSD in 12 sessions. This isn't managing symptoms, this is elimination. But here's what you can start doing today, right now, to begin healing. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. When you feel triggered, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. This pulls you out of the trauma response and back into the present moment. Box breathing. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Repeat. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural calm-down mechanism. Bilateral stimulation. Cross your arms over your chest and alternate tapping your shoulders. This mimics EMDR and can help calm your nervous system immediately. But here's the most important thing. You need professional help. Trauma rewires your brain, and you need specific interventions to rewire it back. Look for therapists trained in EMDR, cognitive processing therapy, somatic experiencing, or internal family systems. Dr. Peter Levine gives us this hope. Trauma is a fact of life. It does not, however, have to be a life sentence. And he's right. I've seen people who couldn't leave their homes become world travelers, people who couldn't trust anyone build beautiful families. People who felt broken discover they were never broken at all, just wounded, and wounds can heal. Here's what I want you to understand at the deepest level. Your trauma responses aren't weaknesses, they're evidence of your incredible strength. Your nervous system did exactly what it needed to do to help you survive. The anxiety, the hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, the perfectionism. These were all brilliant adaptations to impossible situations. But here's the shift that changes everything. What once protected you is now limiting you. You survived the trauma, but you're still living as if it's happening. Your body hasn't gotten the message that the war is over. Dr. Stephen Porges, who developed polyvagal theory, explains that healing happens when we give our nervous system cues of safety, not just thinking we're safe, but feeling it in our bodies. This is why you can't just think your way out of trauma, you have to feel your way out. Every time you do a grounding exercise, every time you set a boundary, every time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, you're teaching your nervous system that it's safe now. You're literally rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways that lead to peace instead of panic. If you've made it this far, you're ready. Ready to stop letting trauma run your life. Ready to stop surviving and start living. Ready to discover who you are beyond your wounds. I want to leave you with this truth. You are not your trauma. You are not what happened to you. You are not the coping mechanisms you developed. You are so much more than your wounds. Beneath all the protective layers, beneath the anxiety and the walls and the masks, there's a whole, complete, worthy person who deserves love, success, peace, and joy, not because you earned it through perfection or people-pleasing, but because you exist. Your healing matters, not just for you, but for everyone your life touches. When you heal, you break cycles that may have existed for generations. You show others it's possible. You become living proof that trauma doesn't have to be a life sentence. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from this video and do it today. Maybe it's the grounding technique. Maybe it's looking up a trauma therapist. Maybe it's just being gentler with yourself. Share in the comments what step you're taking. Let's hold each other accountable. Remember, healing isn't linear. You'll have good days and bad days. You'll take steps forward and steps back. But every small step rewires your brain a little more toward safety, toward connection, toward freedom. You've already survived the worst, Now it's time to heal, it's time to live, it's time to discover who you are when you're not in survival mode. You've got this, and more importantly, you're not doing it alone. We're all in this together, one breath, one moment, one healing step at a time. If this video helped you understand yourself better, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe for more content on healing, growth, and breaking free from what holds us back. And remember, you're not broken. You're not too much or not enough. You're human, you're healing, and you're exactly where you need to be.